Alright, welcome to Pixelated Water Hell, because this next level is a fishing hamlet.
Once again, we're in for another epic with another hour-long part. Okay, I'm wondering, is this partly to do with how the game kind of paces its levels?
Kinda, it's more like big levels with segments. I was considering breaking down in, say, two smaller fragments, but I argue that the pacing worked better as this one continuous trip. Like I said, the drones, there you go. The drones serves specifically to break down the specific checkpoints that you can get all on new weapon type first.
The Omega Tech Frost Cannon is perfect for turning enemies into frozen dinners.
It's literally the same function of the freezing grenades from A Crack in Time.
Devastating Arctic blast.
I will say, well, we haven't mentioned it before, but might as well give it a compliment for it. It seems like everything is at least consistently subtitled this time.
Seems to be, yes. Again, I get the idea they had to for the sake of giving the experience, some level of comprehension,
Well, I mean, when there's four players, there's potentially up to four players doing all sorts of crazy stuff on the screen.
To be fair, if you noticed the basic, non-specific basic game chatter that the characters, the four players tend to have, those are not subtitles. The constant of Clank saying, "My fellow robotic friends, we do not wish to fight you," That
I'm
kind
guessing
of stuff
the
is
reason...
not. It's just simple banter that is not appropriate to the situation. I get that, but still.
I'm guessing the reason is, ideally it's in case some important story bits that are subtitled come up. Now, mind you, I would say in that case the obvious solution would be have like different forms of subtitles, but again, I'm not a game dev. Like, I've done some... I've taken some video game courses, but none of which have involved how insertion of subtitles goes, so I don't know if they could have had like two different forms of subtitles.
I can tell you,
going
well,
at the
okay,
same time or
not rated to gaming, Jova, but I can tell you as someone who used it to make subtitles for videos, it is kind of a pain in the ass of a process, not so much for applying the direct, speech-to-text conversion, because I usually had to do that for, Italian subs for English-speaking video. But also getting the timing right. That is the bitchiest part of making subs ever, because you need to make sure that it's frame perfect, otherwise it's just, intrusive enough to be a bit too earlier, or maybe it leaves away too early before, the sentence is over and it becomes, bad to read as a result. So, again, there's an entire level of gigantic patience going around for people who make subtitles that is understated. That includes also for gaming. So I get partially why for a long time they wouldn't implement every single possible thing, because it legitimately is a bit of a pain in the ass. It still begs some question for games like Remember Me, where they don't even bother to apply proper scaling to the size of a text, so as a result, it's super teeny tiny, even on its intended original resolution. Anyway, just to mention, these particular enemies are asleep, but if we wake up, obviously damage you on contact. You will see later, because we encounter them again, you cannot kill them, so your solution is to literally throw them overboard into the water. Lovely, I know. Anyway, to mention what I was saying at the beginning, it's the fact that each of the major sections of the game, you can chuck them up to like a theme park attraction with different kind of things happening, in it. For example, here we started a fishing hamlet, but because of the consequence we'll have to deal with a weathering machine later on, which might look a different environment, but is still connected to this. So it's a bit of a, min-maxing kind of thing, and at one point I was like, at that point you might as well just get to experience the whole thing for this.
That makes sense, honestly. I do get the feeling the reason levels are like this is to, of course, adhere to the whole four-player thing. Like, one thing I do notice when a lot of series tend to go more multiplayer-focused is one thing devs will do is make the levels bigger, more expansive, because ideally that gives more room for players to do more
if
stuff,
if you play the Diablo or Gauntlet, you know exactly this kind of thing already, so, it's nothing too new for people who have played, a multiplayer kind of brawler like this.
And again,
I'm trying for that matter.
And again, I will admit, with this game having the reputation it did, I'm so far pleasantly surprised that it's not terrible, mind
Like
you.
I said, John, I think the major culprit reasons back then was simply because it came out of a tale of a crack in time. It gave the idea that the series was, suffering from sequelitis, and on top of that, the plot did not add, any major investment on top of having a gameplay system that was different from the previous ones. So many people thought simply that the franchise was just trying to, be desperate in an attempt to be relevant. Which, to be fair, it was partially true because the existence of this was technically a mandate from Sony. But I don't know, like, I've seen far, far worse ways to keep a franchise alive, and like I said, and like I also said, these days a game like this would be kind of a blessing.
Around this time, I'm just glad that their definition of trying to stay relevant wasn't to try and make some gritty reboots where Ratchet is the codename for some really dull soldier and Clank is the codename for his tank.
Oh, don't worry, Libs. That was supposedly the intention of Naughty Dog when they had considered at one point rebooting Jak and Daxter. Because, that's the kind of direction you need to take the franchise, alright?
The game that went on to become Last of Us.
Hello? Anyone?
But yeah, no, like, I really do chalk up the backlash to just timing. Like, admittedly, like, at the time, as far as the fan base knew, we were gonna keep getting games, essentially. It's like, now mind you, if this had been released in this day and age where fans are hungry for anything past Rift Apart, I bet you, while people might still have some qualms with this, they probably would have enjoyed it still, essentially.
That's not even that, oh, right. It's not even that, Jova. It's the fact that, again, these days, co-op-focused games are, much more in demand than they used to be in the early 2010s. I know that the easy joke to make is that, oh, the game was clearly ahead of its time, but it's more of a case that, the fluctuation of the genre just wasn't in its favor back then. Simple as.
That is true. Like we're nowadays in a point where split-screen multiplayer is now a selling point, essentially, once again.
Well, not even just for the competitive stuff, but even for just having a fun adventure. Again, Joseph Fares games, for example.
Which, hey, that's one thing Nintendo definitely kept capitalizing on with the Mario games, essentially.
Or in
Most
general,
notably
even Donkey Kong
3D World
Bonanza
and
tends to
Wonder.
have that, to an extent.
I'm over here. Whoa, what the heck is that thing?
Looks like some sort of weather transmogrification apparatus. That could be what ran the Tharpas out of
Bonanza, I think it has it kind of like to the same extent that Mario Odyssey has.
Mario
where
Galaxy.
Obviously,
It's similar to how in Mario Galaxy the second player throws star bits at the enemy. In DK Bonanza, the second player assumes the role of Pauline and, remember, as sampled in Nintendo Direct, her shouts damage the enemy.
yeah, fair point. Odyssey. Well, okay, Odyssey is credited more as a proper sequel to, like, 64 and Sunshine, but it does take a lot of cues from the Galaxy games as well, true.
Not to mention, when it comes to this kind of thing with 3D Mario, I argue it doesn't even fucking matter. Because, continuity for Mario is really an exercise in futility.
Well, this is why I'm talking more so about the gameplay formulas in terms of how they're considered sequels.
Sure.
Like, story-wise, I think it's all just together.
Like, sure, some stuff is more united than others, like some of the RPG games, but even then it's not really consistent like the Paper Mario games.
I will say, though, there's enough lore and continuity that I am definitely calling bullcrap on the whole Mario and Peach just see each other as friends, because, I'm sorry, you don't have a game where Mario literally proposes to Peach just to say, ah, nah, he just sees her as a friend.
Yeah, they're just mates.
Cousins, perhaps.
Meanwhile, Daisy and Luigi have statues of them holding hands in love in the latest Mario Kart game.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't mind just having Mario get together with Pauline. She was there first to begin with, technically. So...
Honestly, me too, honestly. If anything, I'm more on the Mario and Pauline train, and hey, Odyssey seems to suggest that Pauline still has an interest, so... maybe that will be how it ends. Which would be funny, seeing as how Mario was dating Pauline in the original movie anyway.
There you go. This particular...
again,
yes, they play around with the concept.
Them, putting them in a blender.
They introduce these enemies you cannot kill, and now they have you the puzzle of a device that needs them in order to activate electricity. That's, you know, simple concept, but, you know, they managed to work around with the tools that they have. I also particularly like the variable... Fuck. I also particularly like the type of music that they use in this. It really fits the whole fishing hamlet kind of thing, but it's kind of bouncy a bit. So again, even on the music tracks, there is a bit of more of a spark than the generic, you know, grandiose orchestra that Crack in Time used to have.
I get it, you know. The sense of finality is no longer a thing, so we don't have to be all big, grand, and standing. It's just another fun romp.
Okay, at one point I was wondering if I was going to compare it to the soundtrack that Spyro Heroes Tale had, but that one has a bit more personality to it than in this case, so no, not really.
Yes! All systems are fully operational.
Anyway, to recap what Kronk and Zephyr told us, it seems that nobody is around anymore in the at the fishing hamlet, and the possible reason would be the giant tornado in the background that, you know, had potentially ruined the local sea. Again, considering what the natives of this planet have told us, it seems that that machine, Emphemeris, you know, has kind of ruined the ecosystem by capturing different species and, you know, experimenting with them. Which one of them might be this Kraken thingy.
I caught one.
I was gonna say, one of my main problems with games like this, where the characters are huge chatterboxes throughout the levels, is when they eventually just start looping lines.
Yes.
I will say this. Okay, I will say...
Barrier.
Holding!
And I'm awesome.
Does he have a...
Like...
I can't remember it. Does Cole have a game over line?
No. Surprisingly, since she has pretty much a line for just about everything else, Christ. Like, I mean, look. I get giving characters banter and whatnot. I just feel like if you're gonna have them be chatterboxes, give them a lot of different things to say. Like, I'll give Sonic Frontiers credit, essentially. It came up with a lot of stuff for Sonic to say, including case-specific stuff, based off of certain areas you were in the area and whatnot, so it never felt too repetitive, thank goodness.
It's worth noting that some games developed around this time that were heavily focused on character casual bantering through a heated process, like specifically Left 4 Dead or Payday 2, did, you know, had this kind of thing, but people just did not particularly care about it because they thought it was funny. So it's also depend heavily on the quality of the things that the characters are saying, I argue.
They also need to be willing to shell out the budget to let the actors say as much, like... Credit to where it's due for Marvel Rivals, they have almost a character interaction for, I think, almost any combination of heroes, essentially.
Well, okay, well, not the same because some characters are not allowed to speak, unfortunately. Sonic Racing Crosswords also tries to do something like that with the rival bantering.
To its credit, the only characters who aren't really allowed to talk are, like, the extra add-ons.
Yeah.
Like, for the base roster, pretty much everyone's go-to, and we do have some pretty good interactions. Hell, it's from that we now have the idea for a Silver game where Sage is the bad guy in the future. Which, funny enough, a lot of people theorize that in Silver's typical penchant for accidentally screwing over himself in his future, he may have given Sage the idea to carry on in her father's footsteps if the Eggman Empire is no more in the future.
Honestly, from what I've heard, I haven't heard every single clip, but so far my favourite banter dialogue in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is pretty much all of Omega's lines.
Of course.
And when Cream tries to basically bribe Vector into saying, oh, by the way, if you let me win, my mom will appreciate it.
She knows. She knows.
That was like literally a one-time thing in the anime. Holy shit.
Well,
it is persevere.
Oh, right. I thought that I thought that Sonic X was tended to not be referenced much.
Sonic X gets its fair share of references. Like, obviously nothing too drastic that makes it canon, mind you, but like, you know, the whole Vector being into vanilla, that's been a thing that's been referenced quite a bit, to be fair.
Although my only thing with Ian Flynn's writing is that he really gets so deep into the references. Like, what if you're just a first timer coming in? You play, say, Sonic X Shadow Generations, and you hear stuff about time stones as if the game expects you to know what that is.
I mean,
okay, to be fair, you're talking about Generations,
about
the game
that,
that's
but,
literally about going to the past with several games.
Also, sorry to say it about to be a rude waves, but you just look it up. The internet is at your fingertips. Like, if you're really curious to understand what's going on, that really shouldn't be a problem. Sure, I guess you can complain about the methodology of part information, but you can do it after learning.
Did we get ultimate confirmation that Ian Flynn is definitely the one writing Crossworlds?
I think he himself posted about it.
Yeah, he does those wiki.
Knowing Smile.
Knowing Smile. Okay, then, yeah. But yeah, Omega burning Vector with his inability to pay the bills and get a date is just hilarious.
Anyway, as the Croc and Zephyr are saying, the weather devices seem to be actually connected to what was labeled as Dr. Croyd's partner, Dr. Winkelmeyer, which seems to not make much sense because, you know, they were specialized in biology, so why a weather machine? But wait till you learn more later.
Well, you know, every scientist has to eventually make a weather machine. Just as part of
I
the
guess.
hobby. What? You don't want to play God as a scientist?
Like, by that point, I guess you will have to think more of, you know, like a laser than I would think more of a laser than a weather machine.
But that's like half of all fictional scientists' goals.
I mean, as long as it works.
But yeah, I think... Oh, can't forget the one line that really went viral. Sonic outsassing Rouge with his handling of the curves.
I'm pretty sure that was on purpose.
Okay, let's be honest. Sonic is the kind of guy who can adapt to snark overall. So if Rouge comes at him with a sassy line, he can come back at her with a sassy line. Like, we don't get to see Sonic and Rouge interact one-on-one too often, but if Sonic Battle is anything to go by, he can dish it out and take it.
I'm pretty sure at least one character had a new voice actor in that game.
Maybe. Oh wait, no. That's still Michelle Ruff, just finally giving Cream something of an older voice.
For Wave, yeah, they brought back Kate Higgins.
Oh right. I think Zavik and Zaz might have different voice actors now that you mention it.
The Zeti, yeah, I think so.
I think he's voiced by Patrick Seitz now.
Hey, I caught one. Oh, hello there. I didn't think anyone was left in town. What can I do for you?
We're trying to get to Terawatt Forest so we can meet with Dr. Croyd. Is there a railway station we can use around here?
Well, there's a station over by the
A
lighthouse.
railway station with all this water.
Also, the lighthouse thing is clearly supposed, we will see also later, it's basically a reference to Bioshock, because around this time, Infinite had been released, so...
The train not being able to go on water, that sounds like a skill issue to me.
Use that cannon to launch food over to the
So, Clank's idea is to launch ourselves directly into the weather machine to disable it from the inside. Sure, I guess. We've done crazier things in this franchise anyway.
Usually travel in packs and bring food back to their king. Maybe we'd better perform a geoscan of the area. I don't want the rookies running into a king.
Anyone need some nanotech?
Just what the technician ordered.
Also, in regards to what you said about Rouge, I find it more a bit amusing the fact that, you know, they want to keep the femme fatale aspect in voice and text, but not in appearance anymore for the character. Like, it's like go one way or go full through at that point.
Like, also, guys, try to
and I say that, by the way,
Rouge's-
someone gives absolutely no shits about Rouge. Just FYI.
I'll just say this, trying to censor Rouge only really brought attention to the whole sexy factor, and now people pretty much counter that with a mod anyway, which... Yeah, no, you're right, like, why even do the sexy femme fatale thing if you're trying to not have her a sexy...
Anyway, giant enemy, not even crab, more like mollusk, they just leave it at that. Thankfully, Krunk and Zephyr found on Wikipedia how to defeat it, so... That's good, I guess.
I'll give them credit, they have a better track record with their Wikipedia than Whisper did with his Ghost Pad in Yokai Watch.
Well, like I said a few levels ago, if I recall correctly, do remember that their informations are from, Wikipedia articles that might be missing information deliberately or be outdated, so the game is not as cut and dry as you may think and can give you a surprise here or there.
Of course.
Which I kind of like it, it makes things more believable in universe rather than to be, just straightforward. Ow.
That looked like it hurt.
Perhaps I should acquire some
Click! Stop standing around and move! If you're wondering, no, if I recall correctly, you could not use the metamorphic weapon onto... God damn it, Clank.
I just wanted to find out what the black water was actually like.
Spoiler,
Yeah,
it's wet.
it looks it's wet and it short circuits you. Great observation there.
Yeah,
There you go.
The heavy goo crushed my outsides before I had a chance to short circuit.
Alright,
Honestly, I'm not sure which is worse.
one more log from Dr. Croyd. Yeah, number 2 specifically.
002. A heinous crime has been committed.
I kind of like this kind of, delivery that Robiakin does giving for
shambles.
Dr. Croyd. You can tell it's still him, a bit like the medic from Team Fortress 2, but still, just without the German
Worst of all,
accent.
an egregious theft had been committed.
Oh my
Thanks
god,
to
they
the
stole his
protomorphic
Christian
energy
book.
extractor. Gone. All that was left
Well,
behind
just get
was
Bible
a
Man
recipe
on the
for trumpet
case.
stew.
He's got nothing better to do.
Mr. Dinkles.
And
my
they also
friend,
stole
my
his
muse.
pet, Mr. Dinkles.
Someone had taken him, but it couldn't be. No. Nevo. What have you done?
So it sounds like the culprit might be whoever this...
Being called Meyer, his assistant as we saw in the first video.
Robotics, avionics, and quantum mechanics. Partner at the Frumpus Croyd Exploratorium of Scientific Wonderment. He and Croyd were lifelong friends.
Looks like they didn't stay friends for long.
According to an article in the Magnus Inquisitor, Dr. Croyd wanted the technology to remain with the Tharpods. But I see several patent applications here signed by Nevo. He wanted to sell the technology to GrumbleNet. An expert in space travel, corporate espionage.
Clearly.
I detect copious amounts of whippersnapperism. Tread carefully,
Is that all?
This Tharpod
Well, we'll have to see where that leads us. Thank you, vaguely Squidward-looking turtle.
I was about to say, the heads make them look like Squidward.
I mean, it's not as much as that specific species in Baldur's Gate, the Baldur's Gate games, but still.
So, now we have corporate espionage to deal with, it seems.
Well, you know, despite the change in perspective, yeah, the gameplay, you know, now being co-op, the core is still, you know, the philosophy of Ratchet and Clank, blow shit up. So that's what we're gonna do. I think this is the last weapon we get a presentation for, minus the Rhino. Oh, I really don't like this weapon, by the way. It's cool in concept. It produces a cloud that rains thunder on the enemies, but it's way too slow, and you might as well just do something else to kill the enemies faster. Probably works better when all 4 players are around, but otherwise, I don't really stick to this one.
Yeah, given the tornado, it sounds like it's something that calls for you to use multiple players with.
Also, if you noticed, the pigs started to become more aggressive because I actually powered up the morphic weapon. So they're gonna become more aggressive once I power up some more.
But at least they'll work for you, so it's morally alright.
Clearly. Again, there are still the weird implication on how robotic enemies can turn into an organic pig, but just don't think about it.
Going up!
In the eyes of the storm, literally.
When did we end up in that bit in the Crash Team Racing underground level?
Oh, the sewer level. Well, yes and no. Yeah, right. You're talking about the cyan tunnel that you get near the end of the track. That's. Oh no, actually, that's engine.
Ultra fast.
That's Engine Labs. You know, near the beginning instead. I was thinking of something else.
But yeah, this is definitely a reference to Bioshock Infinite.
Oh well, the weather machine not so much. When we get to the lighthouse, don't worry, Drova.
Didn't this game come out before?
I think around the same. Keep in mind, Waves, that Bioshock Infinite was in development hell for a very long time. So at this point, we already knew the early trailers when Stephen Russell was supposed to voice Booker at that point. It gets so ridiculous to the point where PlayStation Stars Battle Royale has official, you know, Bioshock content in it, in the form of Big Daddy Be Playable, and also has 2 stages that include stuff from Infinite. The problem is that they're using as reference stuff that was in the trailers for Infinite, but because stuff changed a lot during development, the stuff that is in PlayStation Stars Battle Royale, it's almost unrecognizable from the final product. Like,
it's a special
I think the one thing that is consistent is the Zeppelin of the voice of the people, where, you know, it has the writing "our voice will be heard," because I think that appears in one scene, and I think it's in the background. The one time Booker and Elizabeth are about to escape. If it's not the same Zeppelin that are about to use, but no, I think it's the one of Comstock that they're you know, boarding instead. But whatever. The point is that it's still present in the game, but the other part of the stage, which is a more traditional view of Columbia, contains all references to stores and places that are not in the final game.
It's a special brand of development hell magic for a crossover to have essentially the content of a game's past phase well before it came out. But yeah, the reason this section reminded me of Infinite is actually, it reminds me of one of the tear sequences with all the debris flying around the tower like that. But I guess that one might have been a coincidence.
Yeah,
I forget if
probably.
we ever saw any of the tearaway footage.
No, I don't remember. I think the trails that we got at that point were one about the town symbol, and one in the graveyard where Booker uses the crow, the raven, not plasmid.
Viger.
Yeah, Vigor. Alright, as Croc and Zephyr told us, we need to deactivate 3 of these control towers. Hopefully, the whole thing will stay up enough for us to leave, but, you know, only one way to find out.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, we'll improvise. That's what we always do. Hey, speaking of development hell in Bioshock, supposedly Bioshock 4 is a thing. That was said 2 months
Honestly,
ago.
I honestly don't know what.
That's
the thing. I honestly, genuinely don't know what the 2K games tend to think these days. I know that they're technically, you know, connected to Take-Two, so all the stuff from Rockstar Games, you know, is also tied to them via proxy. But still, the only major non-licensed game that they released recently was Mafia: The Old Country, which was okay, but nothing more. But otherwise, they've just been doing NBA and wrestling games in recent times, as far as I know.
Now, supposedly these words that Bioshock 4 is coming out did come straight from Take-Two CEO's Strauss's Zelnick's mouth, essentially. But my wondering is more so, okay, but what more is there to do? Like, Bioshock 2 more or less ends with Rapture being down, and Infinite... I mean, it's not much of a spoiler now since that game's been out for years, but to put it lightly, Infinite pretty much ends with things in a loop to 1, so...
Setting a completely different part of the world. Again, remember, the original was supposed to be a spiritual successor to System Shock, which, while connected to having 1 and 2 being connected, did try to have the whole thing about a different disaster in a different location. Hell, when Dead Space was supposed to be System Shock 3, also wanted to do this kind of thing. So, I don't know, I think it's just a matter of, you know, thinking about the right solution. It's kind of like with the stubbornness of Bethesda in regards to Fallout, where theoretically you could set the franchise at any point in the world during the teacher of Fallout, but they constantly wanted to be about America, because, you know, that's not otherwise not recognizable enough for their setting.
You know, I guess in that case, my only confusion comes from, like, okay, what took you guys so long with Bioshock 4? I mean, okay, now, ideally if the game's still good, it'll sell well, but if they were trying to ride off the hype, it's been years, and, well...
That's also the thing, Jova, outside of the licensed stuff, again, let's not discount the NBA and WWE games, but outside of the Rockstar package, the IPs that 2K games tend to own are not really that much to begin with. Again, I can think of, okay, outside of Bioshock and Mafia, don't remember what else is there. Let me see. Again, just I know that I
first counting all the Rockstar stuff.
Well, again, like I said, keeping the Rockstar stuff apart, but I think the old Bungie games called Myth RTSs are owned by them, but that would be kind of, you know, of a stretch. Okay, apparently the Army Man, but that's technically another, you know, license kind of stuff. Oh, right, Civilization, I forgot. And they released the 7th game recently, so there is that. But otherwise, yeah, there is not much, to be honest.
Wait,
there's XCOM, but that hasn't received a new game in a long time. I don't know if we're ever gonna get another one.
And they did technically publish Borderlands, but
well, okay, that is a cool thing with Gearbox, so I genuinely don't know how much 2K owns the franchise and how much instead Randy Bobandy Pitchford instead owns it.
I will say, it'll be funny if the reason they're really insisting that Bioshock 4 is coming is because we're about to get another announcement that GTA 6 is getting delayed, so it's like, put in something!
I swear to God,
to keep people going.
If despite that, they're still having that at the most anticipated section in the Game Awards, like, that would be very, very stupid if you ask me at that point.
It's like, look, last year, yes, GTA 6 absolutely would deserve to be on that list, and I could see it winning. But yeah, at this point, if they're just delaying it over and over, and it keeps getting to go on that slot...
In case you're wondering, there is a precedent, at least with Elden Ring, I distinctly remember that, but to be honest, that one, because that one we did not know what the release date was for a long time, so it was just literally Jeff including it just for the lose, you know, rather than to be sure about the release date.
Whereas with GTA 6, that was supposed to come out this year. We had a date and everything. And then it got blasted.
Honestly, I don't remember what major AAA game released in recent time hasn't been delayed, because now that's basically the trend. It's been the trend for so many years now.
I mean, look, delays I get, but GTA 6's was frustrating because we were pretty much all set up with a specific date in mind. Typically, when there's like just a window, okay, a delay, maybe. But when you have like a date, and then it's like, oh, sorry, no, like, I think that's when people kind of have more of a right to be annoyed. Looking at you, Mighty Number 9, but I digress. That's
don't worry, Drova, it's dead. It cannot hurt us anymore like an anime fan on prom night.
What about the 3DS and Vita releases?
Like, honestly, it's the kind of stuff that maybe it will happen, kind of like some of the forgotten GBA games like Shantae GBA, where in the future some weird, retro loving company will actually print those versions.
I gave up hope ages ago.
Why would okay? I get what you mean, Libs, but I'm gonna one up on you. Why having hope to begin with on that? The base game is a piece of shit. How would the 3DS and Vita version would even look like?
Yeah, but at least what I can out.
Okay, some people were speculating that maybe it might get like the Sonic Colors DS treatment and it's like a different game, so maybe that could be better. And 2, at the very least, give the backers who literally backed to the stretch goals for 3DS and Vita copies their dues, because that's kind of robbery.
By the way, don't do what I did and try to actually cheese the strategy by disabling the platform while on it, because when they go down, you die. So...
so they thought of that.
Yeah, it's the game kind of, finger wagging like Sonic.
Cute. Hey, you know what? Look, if a game knows the way someone's gonna try and cheese it and calls you out for it, respect.
Not to mention, I was mostly doing it because if you noticed, now that we were at the third, station, now pretty much the entire floor was becoming electrified, so I had to, improvise a bit.
Yeah, I did notice that. It's like, I think maybe the devs went a little overboard with that.
Well, remember, again, this entire game has to be balanced for 4 players, so some of the things need potentially to be toned down when you're in less. But I get the idea with the amount of stuff that there is, maybe something slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, because that one felt like just about every platform was going up almost.
Alright, we watched Temple of Doom recently, so it's time to pull that out.
Oh my.
First let us the drone to save our progress.
Get your bonus bolts, there we go, collected bolts, bolts for enemies killed, critters collected. Alright.
I was gonna say critters killed for a second.
No. Whee!
I'm on my way.
And they did not die. So, okay, Java, you're the Disneyland theme park expert. What kind of attraction this is aping up?
Oh god, this looks like Pirates of the Caribbean. Shipwrecks and whatnot.
But I'm talking more about the device, this raft that the players in this case have to control and move. Like, getting in a theme park is probably automated for the sake of, not being stuck, but still.
Okay, I'll be honest, I don't think Disney has a raft ride, specifically. They have water rides. Now, Universal, though, they do have a raft ride, the Popeye ride, which is arguably the most wet you will ever get on any ride. Holy cow, that ride soaks you to the bone.
In case you're wondering, don't worry, you cannot get stuck. The raft will eventually come back to you.
That's nice.
So, you know, the devs thought of that. And you can always try to toss the other player, and reach that if you feel desperate.
I found it funny how when we were falling, Ratchet said one of his generic quotes, "I'm on my way." It's like, really? You actually let him say... And he says it in such the normal way while falling. That's like...
Major. That's the weird thing. Like I said, we get the polar opposite sometimes by having Ratchet, having to perform a relatively minimal jump and going, yo!
Like, again, I don't know how far we were in, like, programming voices to character-specific actions or events, but
Alright,
I don't know, surely they could have
now
programmed
this is where
it to
things
that
get
kind of
interesting.
specific
Don't
profile.
bounce,
Oh, no.
don't bounce on the spiky stuff, or the raft will actually get destroyed. And that includes also the turtles now.
We must stay
This is the
clear of
worst ride ever. Go away. Thank you.
Please.
Thankfully, some stuff you can actually destroy, preemptively, but you need to basically maneuver. Obviously, with 4 players, you can imagine the kind of chaos this actually, turns into a la Mario Party. So...
Yeah. Oh yeah, this looks pretty much geared like a Mario Party game, especially that one where all 4 players can actually work together.
Like I said, you can tell that the game is genuinely trying to have like a new bag of tricks, with each level, so that they don't get, too repetitive, and despite using the same kind of tools that they gave you since the beginning. That's kind of neat, actually. It showcases to me that Insomniac genuinely put effort into making this game.
I can definitely believe that. Like, again, even when they're stepping outside of their comfort zone, I have never gotten the feeling that they're half-assing it. The only time I've ever gotten the feeling of them not caring is Quest for Booty.
Like I said, you'll have to judge on your own when we get to full frontal assault as Rescue Force, but that's a story for after this game. Alright, new lab, and thankfully again we have enough animals collected.
Welcome to Weapons Lab Gamma. Let's get started.
Let's properly begin.
Good work, Ratchet. That poltergeist will do just fine.
Thankfully, Clank's AI worked well enough for this section.
Get ready, Ratchet.
Have you ever had moments where the AI quirks out so much that they actually do cause your death and, like...
Not my death,
life?
but to enough that I need to actually wrangle the partner in order to actually put them back on track. It has happened a few times already, if you have paid attention, but it's not the last time it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's why I was wondering if, like, it gets to a point where he actively causes your death, essentially, which, like, that'd be funny. Annoying, but funny. Provided it doesn't happen too much.
And like I said, small checkpoints, if you keep the session going, are also a thing. So even when you die, it really is not that big of a setback. It really is an experience designed to be fun to play rather than to be super challenging.
Which, hey, you know what? Honestly, first and foremost, a game should be fun.
Also, please remember that that's Lang, rip your new one. That has been a thing since the beginning, the first years. That's the code name of a rhino.
Yep.
I don't remember if I mentioned that during the first Ratchet Clank, but my country, because it's an acronym, they did try to translate it into, even the meaning for that, but it sounded very awkward, so I think around the second game already, they just kept it instead as Rhino, and if it's an acronym, they just use the English term. That's probably for the better.
What did they try translating it to in the first game?
Okay, I need to remember, because it's been a while since I played, but it was kind of different. I can use this time because we're still in the raft ride.
I'm gonna laugh if it turns out to, once again, I've turned out to be an analogy to penis, because
I mean,
that's
probably.
how
Well, to be fair, again,
words
even
translate.
the original is literally, you know, rip you a new one, which, you know, it doesn't leave much to the imagination. Okay, there you go. Okay, the original way it was translated in the first game, the code name would have been MIPS, which stands for the Italian words that get translated to die in a few seconds, which really, you know, is a bit more straightforward for the destructive capabilities of a weapon, but, you know, it doesn't have that extra flavor that, you know, the original had. So, no, again, sometimes it's just better to just keep the English term. We kind of do that already for a lot of comic book stuff, like the SHIELD organization. So.
Well, there you go.
God damn it. Can you stop? I need to pass through.
Those spikes. This definitely feels like they were referencing Godzilla with those spikes.
They're more like corals, so, you know, it's more of a case of, oh, the turtles live, you know, on the bottom of the sea, so corals form on their shells, you know.
Although these corals are sharp enough to literally burst our bubble.
Well, to be fair, Jove, I don't know, okay, not even saying to experience that on your skin, but ask anyone who has actually come in contact with coral, and they can, you know, still pierce you even if they're not spiky. Mostly because everyone thinks that corals are like a vegetation, but no, they're basically a collection of, you know, a lot, and I mean a lot, of micro, you know, shells of small crustaceans. So it's all carapace stuff, just fluffily colored.
You know, when you get down to it, coral is kind of like the mulch of the sea. Compromised to dead beings, in a sense.
Well, no, the coral is still alive, in a sense. It becomes dead only under specific God damn it, Clank. It really is like
Ratchet.
It really is like Tails in Sonic 2.
I guess the difference is, like, at least with Tails in Sonic 2, if you know how to work with him, you can use him to your advantage, essentially. Clank here is just...
I think it was more like similar to, I think it was Roger Van der Dime's video on Sonic 06, when they are like in the future and Tails is like, oh good Sonic, let's go, oh no, I'm falling through the ground. There you go, now basically my my shape-shifting device is so powerful that even some of his smaller enemies can, you know, be instantly transmorphed. Anyway, diary number 3.
003. It has been 22
How many
years
years?
since I lost Mr. Dinkles.
22?
And you didn't record anything until now.
I know, right?
Nothing.
Oh, the Cecilia chart. Oh no.
Poor
Oh.
Mr. Dinkles. I
Poor
shudder
Mr.
to think of the
Dinkles.
countless birthdays he spent as a slave to Nevo's machinations. What plans does that traitor have for these creatures? I must act before it's too late. I have repurposed an old servitor drone to scour the planet for his whereabouts. Using a sample of Mr.
Sure would have
Dinkles'
sucked if he
DNA,
had, you know, left
Emphemeris
the
will run a
planet with
comparative
him.
analysis of every life form it encounters until it finds a match.
Oh
Without Mr.
no.
Dinkles, Nevo's plans will crumble, and Magnus will be safe from
So it
his
seems
treachery.
that Dr. Croyd might have accidentally made things worse.
Oops. Big oops.
Oh well,
Ratchet,
no time
now
to
is not the
worry.
time to be doing a handstand.
Sorry, everyone needs to stretch once in a while.
You just saw a tragic doctor potentially lose his mind at the loss of his pet, and he figures do a handstand.
I love Theo. I love how you make your Ratchet voice kind of sounds a lot like your Sonic voice.
I mean, that's well, not identical. I do see do see a couple of similarities in terms of the more like going fast is
90s
what makes
surfer
it.
dude.
Yeah, going fast is what makes me feel alive, kind of attitude. Remember also, this franchise wants to emphasize the fact that Ratchet is a nerd technically, but because he's a mechanic, he's a cool nerd. Not like Clank, who is a tech bro, so it's more of a computer nerd. That's a difference, I guess. You know, or someone like Big Al, who is a basement dweller, because, the stereotype of the comic book guy from The Simpsons never really got out of style, apparently.
Would you say this goes hand in hand with the media trend when everyone was trying to make nerds these jacked, buff, cool guys?
Kinda, but Clank seems to go around with the idea that, despite the appearance, he has that charisma. That was a thing pretty much since the second game onward, so...
So in a way, they're both nerds. It's just Ratchet's more the jock nerd and Clank's more.
Yeah, again,
silent.
Ratchet is trying to be passed as the cool nerd. The one that because he's a mechanic, he's a physical motherfucker. When instead, whenever Clank has to talk about technical terms, Ratchet rolls his eyes and is like, "Can you speak normally, please?"
Yeah. Which is ironic, since Ratchet himself has had some of those geek-out moments, too.
Again, maybe it's an intentional form of hypocrisy to showcase the fact that, they're not so different. Okay, now I need to question what kind of ride this is. This is... at this point,
It'll probably make me sick if I went on.
There are at least 4 different ways in which the lives of the people on board are jeopardized.
Okay, apparently Disney and Universal combined their most craziest ride devs to make that ride.
Did Six Flags had one of these things?
Oh, Six Flags has a ton of raft rides, so maybe it was Six Flags who made this one.
So Warner Bros. Has to be blamed, gotcha.
Hop in.
Yeah.
I found ammo.
Well, the good news is that we're actually close to the lighthouse, believe it or not, so we're at the home stretch.
Beautiful.
Good, pal.
I will say that, yeah, I can see pacing-wise why you would combine this all into 1 hour-long part, essentially. Like, it's more or less a level that basically has a big construct and whatnot. But then that takes time as the gameplay sequences. Jesus, Clank. Clank, is there something you need to tell us with why you've been so danger-prone lately?
My joints are rusty.
Well, they're gonna be even more thanks to the water.
Well, maybe the water was actually oil.
I mean, considering the environmental stuff, with this franchise, I wouldn't be too surprised. There you go, there's always a lighthouse.
Wait, why am I yelling? I don't have innards to make me go, ah.
There you go.
I just do it to join it.
Yeah, basically. It's strongly implied that that's what's happening. Like I said, making Clank playable in general just feels really weird. I get that you want to have something more than being the supporting character, but there is kind of a reason why it's Ratchet the one with a gun that kills things.
I'm guessing the idea was, well, Clank's typically playable in these games, and the last time he wasn't was deadlocked, and we don't want another one of those.
Yeah, uh-oh. Oh, no.
Hey, I caught one.
It seems that the creature that Kronk and Zephyr were warning us about might be actually close. Yeah. Eesh.
That's a king size, alright.
Any of you guys need a lift?
Okay then. Time for, water skiing segment.
When I said to myself, you should help out those nice heroes who took out the wasp.
Perhaps we can discuss this after.
It's amazing how we can hear you despite all this being going on.
won it off a buddy in a poker game.
I guess Ratchet's ears are just that effective, and Clank...
Well, to be fair, Clank I can't believe he's a robot, so...
Yeah. You know, I don't think we've ever gone into if wombats have special hearing thanks to theirs or
big,
not.
big ears and everything possible.
Whoa, that was a close one.
The Sepioid is behind
Oh, I've played enough Crash being chased by shark sequences to know where this is going.
Yeah, in Huge Adventure / XS.
Well, in terms of those, the levels I remember the most of that kind is the two, the Boulder one in Crash 2, and the one of the dinosaur ones in Crash 3.
I mean, there's also the ones with the dragon in Rapid Cortex. Those were not
Honestly,
too bad.
Music aside, I barely remember anything from that game.
Nice one. Nothing says don't eat me like 5,000 decatones of electricity.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, shoot, if my food started literally electrocuting me, I think I'd get the message.
I've always wondered though. I watched a bit of the Japanese version of 3. Why did they give the Dino a generic cutesy voice?
Sorry, which specific character?
Baby T.
Oh, Baby T. I honestly don't even remember that he had a voice.
No, in the international versions, he just had dinosaur growling. Whereas in the Japanese version, they gave him like high-pitched cutesy noises, like yippee, yippee.
I mean, because Yoshi, I guess. So they wanted to have something like that going on.
Possible.
Ow.
I was wondering why it seemed like you were avoiding some of those green boxes.
It's very, very difficult to control the skis, I can tell you that.
Ow. Okay, yeah. Well, hey, look at the bright side. At least they're not forcing you to use the 6-axis for this section.
Thank
Can you
God.
imagine? If I recall correctly, I think 2010 was the cutoff point when Sony were finally getting over the 6-axis.
Kinda, sorta. Much like with other stuff, when it comes to the game industry in general, it's clearly a case where even when they got the message, there was stuff already in motion, so they had to, wait until the scaling was complete. Alright, one more electric tower to go through. There you go, the King Sepioid is officially fried, I guess.
I can't believe it! We killed the King Sepioid! Wait until the guys at work hear this! Hang on while I swing you back.
Well, that wasn't too bad for a boss fight.
Alright, now let's get back to that lighthouse.
Broken dock ought to give you enough lift to reach the lighthouse. You guys ready for some stunt skiing? Yeah!
There we go.
Off to Totem 5 to let the townsfolk know they can come back home. So long, gang, and thanks for your
Cool, I guess.
The railway station should be just on the other side of that lighthouse.
Yes!
Also, someone has left the magnetic rails on the fucking lighthouse for some reason.
I know, right?
Oh no. Oh no, not the tar pod, no!
Damn.
So there's no time to waste. Come on, Clank!
Going up.
Literally. So, thematically enough, the final confrontation with the King Sepioid needs to be done literally on top of a lighthouse. It's actually kind of used as a bit of a weapon, as you'll be able to see.
Oh, this looks bad. Stare into his eyes, rookie. Establish dominance. The only way to stop the King Sepioid from attacking is to mesmerize...
So yes, we need to activate the lighthouse to quite literally dizzy the King Sepioid. Ow. And for doing that we need to use those fucking things again.
Ratchet, take cover.
God damn it.
Looks like the lighthouse beacon is powered by a biogenerator in the center of that platform. Try batting a few slugs into it.
Of course.
This also kind of looks a bit like a Mario Party minigame.
It really does. I don't think the No. The Bowser Wii U Party game wasn't in yet, but I get a lot of vibes from that one too. Specifically from this boss fight.
Oh, they actually had box with nanotech, so that's actually considered for this lighthouse. Here we go.
Activate the beacon.
Time to let him have it.
Get ready, Ratchet.
Like, Jesus, what the
Whoa, he looks stoned.
Stoned up his ass, so to the point where we can open up the jaw, and literally now we have to push the same electrical creatures inside its mouth. As a reminder, this is a blind run, so, you know, me falling is because I thought that I was supposed to shoot it. So...
I was actually wondering if you could actually fall into his mouth.
No, thankfully. Don't worry about the timing, it's very generous anyway, so...
Okay, that might have been a glitch because of the emulator, but I noticed how he did the chomping thing even though the creature still showed up outside.
Yes.
Reminds me of how in Mighty Number 9 that dog boss can sometimes eat up the drone while the drone's still there.
Whoa.
Clank, I need some help here. I'm over here.
Clank.
I'm a little busy here.
Yeah, Clank. I was supposed to move.
Does anyone require nanotech?
Yes, I joined Sir Frozen again.
Engaging target.
That's what spending all the time in the water gives you.
I thought it was oil.
Hey!
And then the water got into my memory circuits and short-circuited them, so I kept forgetting it wasn't oil.
Ah, but here's the twist now. Now the King Sepioid actually blocks the crank, so we need to actually gently convince him to relieve it.
Oh, getting clever now, are we? What was that sound?
There you go.
Clank, buddy, you drunk?
Probably.
Yeah.
I will help you, Ratchet.
There you go. And push us
Good
over.
wide.
He's hypnotized. Now's your chance. Pull his jaws open.
Okay, now it went down this rope properly.
Yeah, even another one in the previous round managed to pull it off. So here we go.
Oh shoot, did we actually give him a heart attack?
Oh, but we still need to shoot it.
Jesus.
There you go. Now it's finally over.
Good job, rookies. Without their king.
Hooray! We exterminated a species in the most brutal way possible.
Well, to their credit, they said the others will probably just move on without their king, so maybe they'll be able to thrive in an environment that is more suited for them.
Especially
Ergo,
because
an environment that doesn't have Ratchet and Clank.
remember also they were not native from this planet, so you know introducing them also fucked over the ecosystem, so that also can potentially heal.
Shame about that far pod that got eaten.
Oh, speaking of which.
Oh, never
It
mind.
was horrible. You know where I just came from? I've seen things.
Look, I've played Bowser's Inside Story. I know, buddy. I know.
Well, I'm glad that they still put it there to tell you, no, don't worry, still fine. Probably scarred for his life, but you know, still fine.
Don't worry, I'm okay.
I'll remember in therapy.
I'll never eat spaghetti again, but I'm okay.
I caught one.
Hey, maybe you should go ask this guy
guy is
called
gonna need
Raz
some
from
serious
Yeah, what Ratchet
Psychonauts. I'm
said.
sure he can help you with that.
Well, same voice actor, Richard Stephen Horwitz.
Not
Exactly.
With my sudden dislike towards spaghetti.
Alright, time, if I recall, I want to get another cutscene now to transition to the next level.
You know, I'm actually starting to like it here. Sure, it's a dangerous planet riddled with murderous robots and exotic predators, but take away all that, and what do you have? A presidential retreat / water park.
Can I kill him
Oh
now?
god.
I can make it look like an accident.
How? Ratchet.
Ratchet! Holy shit!
I love it! I love it! Ratchet wasn't even against the idea. He's just wondering how.
Like, I get it that he still has the resentment from the early games, but holy shit. Anyway, tune in for the next part where we reach finally the Terawatt Forest and try to search for clues about Dr. Croyd. See ya.
See ya.